Dance for me, baby. I love the feeling on you when you dance for me, baby. Me in a trance for you, baby. I can't believe it was going on, yeah. Care for you, baby. Please believe me, girl. Don't you know I'm there for you, baby? This night is time. You see it when I stare at you, baby. Can't help but feeling it all night long. Yeah. Stop making me run away. Put me in a mood with all the things say. We can make the most. We don't gotta play safe. All night long. Baby, you and me can wait. Put me in a mood with all the things say. Your body on my body, and I love it when you stay. All night
So very adamant about this. We're back here for like Tuesday being the funkiest day of the week, just so you guys know.
Absolutely.
Just like
It should feel wonderful. How wonderful does it feel? If you could describe the wonderfulness of it all, how would you describe it?
this is pretty top tier, man. Like it just y'all saw like it makes you want to like bop. Like you know how to like break out a full dance number unless you want to. You could. But yeah, it feels like you want to dance, you want to boogie, you want to have a good. It feels like a good time. I feel like we all talk about there's been enough conversation around at least on this here platform about music's impact on your mood and stuff, and like uh however like I'm sure like anybody producer wise could probably get in their bag about um beat patterns and stuff like that, but the vibrations, yeah, songs like that just do well. Like I even like you have like moments where you sitting there listening to like the oldies and it'd be like, because some of those songs like even the words weren't like they were like veiled toxic, but I was like, why does this hit better? I don't know. I just feel like some of that stuff like um yeah, man. Drums. I'm sure there's a I was listening to somebody, I forget who said it. Insert one of our like great leaders in like pro blackness, but discussed like how was it, don't let me say the wrong name, but drums and all those things, like how they like actually have like a purpose to like, tune your body up. And then there's a whole bunch of science behind it. So I think there's like something like that.
Talking about Kanye? Kanye said that.
He did. I'm not ready yet. But like, no, just
So if and because it actually does, since I'll say since instead of if, since music has the ability to affect your mood and your thought process and how you maneuver and all that other stuff, since this lovely, wonderful, funky song is called Lionel Richie, does that mean that it makes you like white women?
I hope not. I'm gonna have to cut this off. I think it was James Small who said it. I had to Google that, but I'm pretty sure it was James Small who said it. Anyways,
Fact checking live in living color.
I try.
I had this conversation. Obviously, I'll say obviously. It's not obviously. You guys weren't there, so you don't know. But I had this conversation this morning, similar to that, on the way to the office, do some studying, all that other stuff. It's like 6:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
To see multiple people like their windows down, just blasting new age type of rap songs that sound like they come somewhere out of Detroit or Memphis or something along those lines. And it's like, it's 6:30 in the morning, though. Like, what are you going through to where this is the mood that you need to be in, headed to wherever you're trying to go?
I've had that thought, like, and I know like I'd be trying to get on my faux zen kick. So I might listen to nothing. I might listen to, something soft. I might put on, like a book or something. I'm really trying to finish. I fight between trying to finish the Sandman book fast and then trying to slow walk it, because I think I'm gonna challenge myself to try to, like how they say, like, the top 100 books. I'm thinking about doing that. Don't quote me on that yet. I might not do it, but I'm thinking about it. But no, like when I'm like headed to the gym, or even if I'm like headed home from like work or whatever, and like somebody will be blasting, I'm like, I enjoy that song, but I rather just, I'm like, it's 7 a.m. it's just something about that. And I think I know there's like there's a tweet that flies around. It's like I like quiet mornings, and I'm assuming now that that just might be something that deals with age because like I get physically irritated with too much noise in the morning. Like I shut up. Like I can feel like all my Osmosis Jones people like trying to get to work. They're all pushing the buttons, and it's just a lot of like whoever works on like the deal with sound part of my body hasn't arrived to work yet, and he never gets to work at that time. That's not his time to show up. So I always like wondered. I'm like I remember, and I remember like I think like my high school phase was my biggest. Like I'm gonna blast this fucking music. Like I play music loud now, but like if I'm when I'm vibing to it, high school and like early college was like I got my windows down and I'm blasting. And that was very much you want to be seen. You want to be like, I'm like who the fuck you want to see especially when like I'm at the gym. It's a parking structure. There's parking structure. There's 6 of us in here. You want me to see you? What do you want me to see?
I'm gonna see you inside.
What do you want me to see in that '08 Altima, my boy? Like, roll that shit up. Let's go. Knock it off.
And a couple people that we saw, windows down. Like not like you vibing out to yourself. Windows.
It's cold in the morning right
it's
now.
6:30. You got all the windows down. Not like one window. I saw multiple people that had all the windows down, blasting something that does not set a high vibrational day.
I play.
It just does not. It doesn't do it.
I'm a nigga who plays white meat 9 times a week at the least. Like it's gonna get played no less than 7 times a week.
It
At
is
once,
a fantastic song.
bust a nigga head to the white meat,
Absolutely.
and it's as loud as it needs to be.
Absolutely.
But not at 7.
Not at 6:30.
I don't play nothing like that past like before double-digit numbers. Like it's not 11 down.
Or after, to be honest, depending on the situation. I'm not playing it after 7:30 either.
In the evening?
Mm-hmm.
Depends how my evening go.
It depends on where I'm. I'll say it depends on where I'm going. If I'm at or going to the gym, maybe, yeah. If I'm going home, I don't need to.
Yeah, I'm not really I've noticed like yeah, I'm very much so with the like it ain't like, birds chirping, but yeah, just like I'm very much in getting into my like old Unc cruise. Like I remember the other day, like I was driving and I actually had like a mild emotional moment because I caught myself driving how my grandfather used to drive. And I was like, oh, I got my arm out the window, like I got my right. And I was just cruising. I was like, this is some old shit. And I was like, where I know this from? And then I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm conflicted because I'm
at peace.
It was so naturally how I was like, oh, well, I was in traffic and I was like, well, not going no faster.
Just feel all your nerves just relax.
I was like, it was such a like series of thoughts. I was like, damn. Well, then I found something absolutely nice to listen to, and I was like, we're just gonna bibbity bop this on down the road.
As you should.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand. But I further the conversation. It's like I do recognize how we are, or I won't say preconditioned, but we are conditioned based on our environment to choose things that set our day off so shittily, if that is a word.
Yeah.
But it's like most people, stereotypically for us and for other cultures too, because I definitely hear early in the morning from somebody's pickup truck. I'm like, bruh. So it's not just us that does it, but people choosing music that has nothing to do with peace early in the morning. It's not helping them think about what they need to accomplish. It's that caffeine, smoking a blunt or cigarettes or something about American culture makes us choose things to start our day off in a toxic manner. Even with the food that we eat, you ain't drunk no water. You jumped up, barely washed your ass, barely scrubbed your mouth, left the house, went straight to Starbucks, had a cigarette and some coffee on the way, no water, no nothing. Like,
see I kind of fuck with that in the sense of like, if that's my culture, I would start my morning tapping in with my people.
I can understand that, but you don't know what they're saying.
Well, yeah, see that
some of them songs are the equivalent of like
Yeah,
of
see,
drill
that's
music.
that's the
It
flip side.
sounds different to us because we don't know what they're talking about. It
That's
sounds
true.
like happy and loving. Them niggas be talking about chopping niggas' heads off.
Well, let me try to assume that those are the ones where they talking about, just love or whatever. I don't know, but um, yeah, I resonate with that even with because I'm trying to get more sporadic with how I listen to shit like Huberman Lab, because it'd be like, if you wake up at this hour without getting your circadian rhythm together, I'm like, damn, my whole life fucked up before fucking 9 a.m. So
Absolutely.
I think about shit like that when I like hear music too. But I want to sound like a hater to you guys. Screw you. But no, I think about stuff like that. I try very hard not to like. I give myself at least like, I don't know. I try to give myself 20, 30 minutes before I even look at my phone. So it's not like the first thing blaring in my eyes or some shit.
Fair.
But yeah, I don't know. I just don't have it. I guess like that. Like I don't have like the bam in a minute, man. I need to like ease into my morning. I need a lot of morning foreplay. I need a lot of foreplay before I get my. You can't just ram it in there.
No, you gotta get me wet, baby. Get me wet for the day.
You gotta touch on me in the morning before I get into my day. You can't just be like,
juicy.
fuck it, this is what we're doing this morning. Like, yeah.
What is on a healthy day? What does the start of that day look like? And on a toxic day, what does that day look like?
A toxic day is any day I feel like where I have to like roll out and just jump in it. Like I didn't get any like I didn't like, I'm even if I'm not like tired, like I draw out my waking up. Like I'm up. I do my little like I guess it might be like some somatic shit. I like to like do like a bunch of this shit. I like to feel my hands. I like to feel it in my forearms. I'll go through the whole thing of sitting there and I kind of like check in. I'm like, are we up? I like have my little self-talk moments. It's like I guess half-ass prayer because I'm talking to me, but I'm also like, all right, man, you don't like get up.
Right.
I kind of do my like checklist of what I may or may not have to do because that kind of floods out my little anxiety because I'm like, if I'm up, I'm like, I gotta do, and then I've had moments like I gotta do. Well, I gotta do a goddamn thing. Why am I so amped? Because I didn't get my stuff. I just like to slowly get myself together. Like I'll get up, and then it just goes to the regular degular. Like I'm hungry. Do I want to go get something? Whatever. Do I just want to get something to drink? I try to do more like drinking the water as opposed to just jumping and throwing some shit in my body. But yeah, just a nice, easy, simple process. I don't know. I make fun of some of the people that are on like these influencers who look like every day I'm like, every day y'all get up and y'all journaling, y'all open the blinds and do yoga cartwheels with your booty hole facing the veranda. You don't do that. So I'm not.
What's that called? The shit where they be sunning their buns, basically. They spreading their butt cheeks open and letting the sun hit it.
They have, is that like booty hole tanning? But like,
I don't know if I want to call it tanning because I don't think the terminology is called tanning, but it's called something, and I can't remember what it is. But yes, people that believe that spreading their cheeks open towards the sun helps them with receiving the sunlight and vitamin D and rays, because everything up your asshole is absorbed a whole lot better than it is through your skin. So
that's what Boosie said.
Yeah, that is.
Boosie said that booty hole, and you put
that perk in that thing.
Yeah, put a little X-Pill in there, and it was. But I remember, yeah, that changed my life in college. I thought he said that in a song, and I was like, and the whole crowd, I was like, this is the thing. Cause I literally just found out, like, weed was like really, we was weed in high school, and I'm like, we doing weed here, and I'm like, y'all putting X pills in buttholes already? Y'all are so advanced.
I cannot confirm nor deny. I only know because of health purposes that things can be absorbed nicely up the cheeks, but I have not tried.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard though. I heard it.
I heard.
I heard when it go, boy. That's what they said on the Science Channel.
If any of y'all can confirm that for us, that pills and such are,
I don't know, but what I've heard,
beers, the white boys were doing keg stands in their butt cheeks as opposed to their mouth, to where it was absorbing. They was getting drunker. I know they was doing them at the like white boy parties.
They do a lot of butt stuff.
That is another I'm gonna come back to that because there is a conversation that has been talked about as far as like young boys sex playing each other in different cultures, like how in white culture there's a lot of sex play. And it's looked at as funny or comedic, and within black culture they kind of do it, but it's also like you shame each other for it, but at the same time you also so Not today, but that'll be another discussion that we do need to talk about as far as like how young boys express sexuality and shame each other for it and all that other stuff. But for me, on a positive day, getting up, I am said influencer where the balcony is opened and hello world. And I have on my Hertz music and it's just blaring. I got some incense lit. I went and read up on all my incense and my sage and
Oh, you wake
smudges
up
and
like
all that.
Prince Akeem.
No, because I don't have. There's a way that could go. You know what? Not in time. I have before.
Go me. Yeah, I did that.
yeah, I have before. Yes, I've woken up Prince Hakimish before in some capacity. Yes, it is. It is my birthday. The royal penis is clean, Your Highness. Yes, I've had those. Yes, appreciate it. But no, I just like I have the sage lit or Palo Santo or incense or something. Got the Hertz music going or Tibetan singing bowls and all of that. Get some journaling done. Get about 60 ounces of water in my system, and that's my breakfast and all of that. And we feeling good.
There's a lot of comments I'm getting to, but this
We
is
gonna.
it. Yes. So I just want that to sit there because I think I'm gonna post this.
As you should. As you should.
Son Gucci.
You spread it open. Just
You think Lois did that for Superman? It's not that show. I'm sorry.
No.
Never mind.
She couldn't if she tried. That's the shadowy place. Superman wasn't getting no top notch. We've had that discussion before.
Yeah, I'm gonna have it again just so y'all know, because I'm not over that. So I'm
gonna
find some.
This can't beat the show. Because I was gonna say like
I'm gonna find somebody who draws so they can like animate that. Because I just feel like the things we say should be animated. Who knows an animator?
We know animators. There's plenty. We've had animators on the show before.
Oh, that's true.
Toxic. My toxic morning. I'll let you take a guess on what a toxic morning or a toxic start to the morning looks like for me. Because I know it's not a great habit, but it happens sometimes.
I would feel like I keep projecting myself. I feel like anything that starts out with like work-related shit in the morning is like, this sucks.
Nah, I got that on lock. I don't do anything work-related until fucking 10.
I appreciate that. That's good.
Maybe 9, but 10 for sure.
I can't think of anything outside of like somebody just having like a, oh my God, I'm having a issue. And I'm like, you have an issue?
Yeah, no.
At
I've seen some of them like alerts in my Gmail of like, hey, can talk to you later.
I mean that personally. Like if it's
boundaries are drawn with clients and work stuff. I've seen, yes, you are having a crisis. And yes, I saw your email. And no, I didn't respond until after the times that I tell you I'll respond to stuff. So
oh no, work wise, it's fine. I'm talking about like from like a personal.
Oh I've woken up to
those will ruin my morning.
I've had those. I've woken up and gotten straight into unhealthy conversations of like, oh, somebody's dumping on me, or I gotta address some bullshit, or whatever the case is. Yes, I've had those days. It's been a while since I've had those. So also shout out, appreciate it that I don't have to go through that early in the morning. I kind of had that with my mom a little bit. Now that I think about it, that's a whole nother conversation. Mom was venting last night, and it carried over until the morning. She was going through her own little reflection journey. So helping her process that this morning.
I be going back and forth with those when it's parents, because I'm like, oh, dope. Mainly because I like use my parents as a barometer of like this growth thing doesn't stop. So when I see them like, oh yeah, like look at you, fucking like a 60-year-old epiphany. Oh yeah, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
The fact that you're still willing to, because there's people our age that just they stop trying to figure out how to grow. So the fact that my mom is still like realizing things and challenging stuff and seeing stuff for herself and figuring out how to do it, I definitely champion that and I support that. So I wouldn't look at that as entirely a negative thing, but I'll say jumping into the medias for sure can be. I know, like I started the day off wrong if I jump into the medias, specifically Twitter.
Okay, so I word to Beeve, and I have been trying this week to just kind of dip my toe back in, because quiet is kept. I haven't been on Twitter like for real. I made one like I made a personal one around the same time that one was made for the pod,
Okay.
and I don't interact with any of them. You'll see a post. You could tell when I say something,
And you can tell when I say something.
and it is said. You can see my posts like months apart, and those
Yes.
are actual representations of when I touch the app. But my sister's on Twitter, and she just like she's just on Twitter as a young 20-year-old, just like this is funny, this is going, and she'll send me tweets. So I like look, and I was like, all right, and I've been slowly but surely like interacting, and I was like, man, this is a hellscape. It's funny, and I remember why I like used to get my shit off on Twitter, but also I'm very like hesitant to get back into like the Twitter space. Although I can see the appeal, I'm not gonna lie. Like the evilness of me is like, oh, this.
I'll be honest.
Don't at me. Leave me alone.
I mean, as far as participating in it, as far as speaking and posting things, you and I are the same in that regard. Like I'm sure those of you that follow instructions and you actually follow us on all social media platforms, Just a Dope Ass Podcast on everything. You can tell when I post something and when he posts something. We definitely have different styles in our posting. Mine will be weeks or months in between as far as me vomiting something. I thought about posting something. Side note before I continue, I thought about posting a message in the last couple of days, and I was going to say, I hope and pray that your son finds a woman just like you.
That's dangerous.
And I'm just going to leave it at that and let whoever it's for receive it however they need to receive it and go from there. But for me, Twitter is Pornhub for me.
It's it's that too. So I'll dip on ours, but I've been trying to use my actual personal page more, and I'm like, hey, it's just, and I mean like I'll be legit like, oh man,
on a Tuesday,
the Ukraine, that was funny. Black Adam's coming out. Damn, that's she put the whole thing in there. Like, is that supposed to go in a butt? Wow, that's in another butt. Not gonna lie, yeah, man, that turns into a bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and then I'll go back, but like, yeah, my thing is I just don't have the. I remember back in the day, like I would like post like college, like what was that, 2012 ish. I would just say shit for funny things. I know now I don't have the patience to like say things back and forth to people. So I'm glad I have like 15 people who follow me. Like I couldn't imagine like saying something and somebody's like, respond to me. And I'm like, I'm not. I have like, this is like the only place where
all my birthday wishes. I'm sorry, everybody on Facebook.
Oh no, this is the only place where I'm gonna explain myself. Like I've just come to a conclusion with that. Like even there's like things on even Instagram or like messages in my personal life. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not. I've dated like 3 conversations in the past couple like months. I'm like, I said that on the show though. But like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can very much so tell that you don't want to like talk about it. You just kind of want to like tell me what you think about it. So like,
just tell me.
That's cool too.
Just write it out and send it. I'll see it at some point.
Sorry to anybody who like also DMs the pod page and like, especially if they think they're talking to you, because a lot of y'all be talking to me and I don't give a shit. Like I'm like, y'all can come through though, but I'm not. I'm
pretty sure there's people that may think they don't know which of us they're talking to, so they can assume they're talking to you. I never look at for Instagram.
It's always me.
It's always him.
And I just want you to know, like, it's a lot of y'all I'm not responding to, or like I'm not gonna. Some of y'all lay to death. I'm gonna talk to you, but like, there's a couple that be like, but what about you? Got it. You got it. I posted it. I know it makes sense to me at least. Or to like, I put captions, I put stuff. So like I don't know, man. Be mad.
I have full trust that he is responding in a way that we both would respond. So I don't even need to check.
Yeah, I'm not like disrespectful. I just am like
dismissive. Maybe a little dismissive.
Yeah, I'm not doing this at like
or drawing boundaries to protect your mental health.
All that. Yeah. All of that.
If you want to say it to me, you can just say it to me on my page because I don't feel like bouncing back and forth between 2 pages trying to check. It's like, and half the stuff like,
I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy that too. Like I enjoy my personal social media anonymity where it's like I got like it's 7 people I talk to on a regular. I'm like, I like this. I want to keep that up. I don't know how long that stays because all that destined for greatness talk, but like I'm gonna ride it for now. Like this
I
is really
already
good.
end up having like 20 different conversations a day on my own personal, which is why I don't jump on the pages because it can probably be worse. I'm sure. I don't want to do it. But yeah, man.
I was introduced to Twitter porn by an old friend. He showed me a whole new world. There was no magic carpet ride. Well, proud of you guys.
Filled with buttholes on your screen.
Yes, that's a bonding exercise, right? Like, hey, best bud, there's some.
I use it for like
butt stuff.
detective work because you may see somebody and you be like, I feel like they have an OnlyFans. If I find their Twitter, I can see what else they do. And I find their Twitter and I can see like in the media part, and it's like, I knew it.
Oh no, as soon
You
as
presented
as,
this way on Instagram, but on here, you're deplorable.
no, as soon as you see that link tree thing, like look at, I'm like, oh, it's up there. It's up there. It's
Not everybody. I got a link tree and our OnlyFans ain't on there.
you click the link tree and like OnlyFans pop up. I'm like, oh yeah. Go.
Some of them don't even have it. They just have strictly OnlyFans. And I can respect it.
I mean,
So-
man, get your money, man. It's like boobs. So
Like I said, on a Tuesday, stay off of Twitter on a Tuesday because I'm just looking for scores. I just wanted to see the scores. And on a Tuesday, no matter what time of day I jump on, there's going to be boobage at some point.
Remember Titty Tuesdays, man? That was a thing.
That
was an active thing every day.
It's still.
Oh, okay.
Sir.
I remember it was Titty Tuesdays, and then they had Wagon Wednesdays.
Oh,
Wagon Wednesdays was the day.
it is.
That really got you through your week.
What's weird is like this women replying to other women with their goodies. I'm not upset at it because it just ends up being a whole thread of women showing each other their privates. And I'm just here with popcorn. So
Yeah.
do your thing.
I mean, like, I get it. Like, as much as I'm like, oh, I know that they're like weird niggas. Cause I don't know, I'd just be like, hey man, that's nice. I appreciate that. Like, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't appreciate that being thrown to me, but like, it's just like, oh, this is cool. And then you go about your day. But then, like, I understand that because when you look at like women's comments and it's like, I would love to just fly over. It's like, come on, man. James, you live in Florida. Why are you talking like this? That girl live in New York. Like, why are you acting like this?
Just react and send a nice little emoji and go about your business, sir.
You could send nothing. I
could absolutely. If you don't know them, for sure, you can send nothing. If you do know them, then whatever. But you ain't got to be.
This man knew that. All right. I see who I'm gonna have to interact with. Like,
sir.
Felix knows the Twitter streets, man. Like,
you ain't supposed to be looking at that.
Nigga said, I want y'all to know it's up. It exists. Don't
look here. Somebody has to be wholesome in this fraternity of
it's
ours.
Commercials. Sorry. This is like supposed to be commercial time that we're talking over.
I mean, on the app, it's actually commercials.
Oh, all right.
I think
we're gonna
still got to turn them on though.
Do commercials and shit. We're behind. Bye.
We'll be back in like 30 seconds. App, it's actually commercials.
Oh, all right.
I think
we're gonna
still got to turn them on though.
Do commercials and shit. We're behind. Bye.
We'll be back in like 30 seconds. App, it's actually commercials.
Oh, all right.
I think
we're gonna
still got to turn them on though.
Do commercials and shit. We're behind. Bye.
We'll be back in like 30 seconds. App, it's actually commercials.
Oh, all right.
I think
we're gonna
still got to turn them on though.
Do commercials and shit. We're behind. Bye.
We'll be back in like 30 seconds. App, it's actually commercials.
Oh, all right.
I think
we're gonna
still got to turn them
on. Bye.
Commercials.
Oh. 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 I don't know what happened with the commercials, but
that's above my pay grade.
it did that last week though. Like I think yeah, the second go round they were going, but like that first one last week, it just didn't do the thing.
OnlyFans on Twitter, not Tinder. Though I'm sure there's people posting their profiles on, I mean, their whatever's on their dating profiles.
Isn't Tinder where you go to actually smack the cheeks?
I think Tinder's kind of like OnlyFans, whereas that's not what it was intended for, but that's what it became.
Yeah, it looked like, okay, maybe not say, let me not say smack the cheeks, but like Tinder's where you like are trying to actually meet these people in real life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like if
you're trying to meet people in real life, it's a dating app, but people have gotten on there and used it as a hookup app, depending on, some people might actually use it as a real thing. Some people use it just to hook up. It kind of depends on whatever.
Yeah, you put your OnlyFans on Tinder. I'm assuming this is up. That's dangerous.
I mean, some of them may do meetups and whatnot. I don't know. I'm not a part of that world. I just look at the footage.
All right, let's
for free.
All right, go back to the comments. I'm not canceling Kanye to make non-black people with anti-black sentiments happy. I've been canceled Kanye because he's a fuck nigga who doesn't care about black people other than the means to an ends. Fair. Kanye does what works for Kanye, always has. Pretty much a bar. Morning is for sounds of life until 8 a.m. Birds chirping, neighbors' car starting. I don't want to hear my neighbor's car starting, but I fuck with y'all.
I hear the same neighbor's alarm at the same time every day.
Y'all are wild. This should be put on a t-shirt, just like this with this quote. This might happen. Like this, just
start doing that. Things that people say on the show, we turn them into t-shirts. That would be working. Side note, morning is for life sounds. Does that mean like listening to or participating in sex counts?
I think so. That's a life sound.
Exactly. I would say.
Yeah.
So maybe I am starting the day off on the right foot sometimes.
If you start off with the sex, I think that's
just wake up,
no,
have a glass of water and listen to some.
No, I don't know a day that goes bad if you start off with that. Like you could, unless you go to work and get like fired. But if your day starts off with and then you go to work and they're like, we got 2 new projects. You're like, ready to go. Yeah.
I had the motivation I needed this morning. I'm good.
All right, man. Kanye said stuff.
I'm about to say, you ready to get into it?
I guess, man.
Begrudgingly, you sound like you don't really want to get
because
into
I'm just I think I just said last episode like how much I don't want to talk about this nigga anymore. And like it was like he heard me. Like
did you?
Oh, which
I'm sorry to cut you off. Kenneth. Go up. One more right there.
Oh.
Mr. Barry.
Hey man, yo. Hey, can we put him in a writer's room? Like I know like journalism and all that, but like I just feel like there's writers' rooms that need there's writers' rooms that need like 7 of us from this network, but whatever. And 7 at the least. Like that's very much a low ball number. Like I can make an argument for like 15 anyways. Yeah, he said stuff like again. And like it's just so much stuff. And it's more so that like beyond like him that bothers me is like I outside I gotta stop doing things that are outside of my wheelhouse. I looked at the comments. I was on YouTube, I looked through the comments, and it was like just
why don't you do that to yourself?
I enough times to do this 3 times, like 1, 2, 3, and it was a number of like, he's here to change the world. He's here. This is the censorship we do not need in our lives. And I was like, y'all really think y'all out here like in the internet talking like that? Like I feel like that's how people think they sound when they like say things. And I was like, yeah, but y'all don't sound like the people that you are trying to mimic. Like this is not that type of rhetoric. And I just think like, I don't know, man. I'm not now. I'll say this. I'm not here for cancellation. I'm not here for. I'm a big fan of letting people get their shit off, so I know where you stand. I know how goofy you are, and maybe you can push a conversation forward. I don't like him because I just feel like his shit is like extremely dangerous. Like people take things he says that have truth in them, and I think obviously whatever that quote is, like the best lies have truth intact in them. Whatever the quote is, fill in the blanks, make it sound like I said something profound. Um, and I think he's really good at that. And I think like Kenneth Anray was saying, like he's good at using entities and groups of people for when it serves him. Black people need to come save me and help me when these white corporations that I don't like now don't let me do what I want to do. And he even said things like that, alluded to that in the interview. Like if the white corporations, if they said come join us now, he would change his tune. And I find shit like that to be dangerous. Like, and people all of a sudden now are like for the people, for the community, and they're saying he's breaking down doors and kicking down walls. And I was like, none of y'all talk about Claude Anderson, none of y'all talk about James Small, none of y'all talk about Dr. Francis Quest Wilson, none of y'all talk about John Henry Clark. So like, what are we talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Like, because none of y'all can name or have listened to any of those people. I don't know anybody that's listened. Like, none of y'all have listened to Dr. Ben. None of y'all put his quotes up. So
those are the people that they would categorize as like hoteps and whatnot,
yeah,
or woke, or whatever the case is, or conspiracy theorists, but not realizing they actually have source documentation of what they speak about. They have evidence-based practices in regards to what they are referencing, but Kanye is just spewing his opinion, which is fine. By all means, share your opinion. All of us have the ability to be anecdotal in some capacity, but that doesn't mean that you are qualified to speak.
say that. Yeah, and I don't like
I'd say same for Kanye, like where he's breaking down doors, right? Supposedly. And he's supposed to be having that deal with like Candace Owens' husband, who was a white man. He's supposed to be looking to buy whatever little social media app that her husband created.
Oh yeah, I saw something about that, like him buying the app or whatever and all that shit.
But it's like you can't say anything about free speech or the black community or people supporting you, whatever the case is, because this is a situation where clearly it doesn't benefit you at all. Even if you say that you're doing business with a black woman, it's still a black woman that very much has anti-black narratives.
And that to me is like what makes Kanye shit really like destructive to me, because everybody's like, how do I say this? Like to me, it's like when you see some of those debates where you'll have like, I don't know, man, some liberal or somebody from say a Black Lives Matter or whatever, and they go argue with insert whoever's on, I don't know, Fox News. It's like the black, it's like the black on black crime argument. Mm-hmm. Statistically speaking, you can say that this group attacks itself more. And I feel like that's how Kanye talks. Like this is an actual fact by these numbers, but it takes away like any nuance or context to why you're saying this information. And I feel like that shit is, I don't know, man. It's a very targeted approach, and I find that shit to be evil because like y'all can like, and I'm more so weirded out by people because I was like, what is y'all's attachment to this man that nobody can call out what he's doing? Like even the idea that like he's breaking down doors for us, I was like, what did he do? Like if we map out what this man's done, like he sold us a lot of
clothing.
He sold us a lot of stuff from District 12. So we was out, so we can all be out here looking like Katniss Everdeen before she went to the games. And then we were like, he's broken down doors, but like it's cities that don't like still have, like word decided, man, like Flintstone ain't got no good water. Like you're a billionaire, nobody has a school up. Like there's nothing that you've done except quote unquote inspire us. I'm inspired by a lot of shit. So that to me is just like this weird.
LeBron has broken down barriers and doors. Ice Cube has broken down barriers and doors. Akon is in the process of trying. Dr. Umar is in the process of trying for a long time.
We might have to put respect on dog name because that
we definitely do.
That thing is up. Like
he's had the school up for a little while. It may not have a lot of people in it, but he's definitely done something. But I mean, hey, Kanye started the Donda Academy or whatever, where they're singing instead of reading books and doing curriculum. So
and stuff like that. That's not. Those are like these big grand gestures to feed. If we're gonna get mental healthy, Kanye is vastly insecure. By my, I just started my little like assessment and diagnosis module. So kiss my ass. But so I don't know what I'm talking about. I would say the man is a raging narcissist and extremely insecure. When he's talking about even his talks about the Jewish community, it's not a sense of like if you heard okay, because he mentioned Minister Farrakhan. Now, think what you want about these individuals, think what you want about their rhetoric, but I would put more money on the fact that Minister Farrakhan is in a way more dedicated to the upliftment of how he's trying to go about uplifting the people. That's
Mhm.
his life's work. That's his motivation. You could tell Kanye's from me when I'm watching it's like I want to be with them. I'm throwing a hissy fit because they don't let me in the room.
Right.
If they open the door mid-interview, that nigga would get out of Drink Champs and walk over there and be telling us all how
They're wonderful people.
yeah. And I'm like, I don't understand people like
But that's on us as a community not being able to discern who actual leaders are. Because you can look, it's been funny how like a lot of people have talked about how that, like I've had conversations with people and I've seen other people in the comments in different situations how they don't like Minister Farrakhan. He says misogynistic this or whatever it is, that and the other, blah blah blah. It's like, but if you really listen to what he's saying, he's informed, whether you agree with him or not. He's very well read and he's informed. He understands things. I've dove into this book and I've read it and I can recite it back to you as far as what it says. I've done my research over here. I've done my research over here. So even if you may not fully agree with him, you can still consider him a decent leader. Why? Because he knows how to speak. He knows how to inform on both sides of the coin, whether you agree with him or not.
mm-hmm.
Kanye strictly anecdotal. You didn't have to agree with Malcolm, but he was very same as the Minister Lil Farrakhan. Well read, understood, well researched. Same thing with Martin. These are educated brothers, whether it's traditional or non-traditional. They still understood things. They still did their due diligence to educate themselves. Kanye just told us a month ago he don't read books. Which could be just
in this interview that he didn't read books too.
Yeah, but that could also just be. I understand it's Kanye, so it could just be him just talking shit because you're supposed to be the college dropout. So clearly, you had something to do with some book at some point in time. I don't think his mama was making sure he wasn't reading no books, but based on his word, he don't read books. So we can look. He have people that look at somebody that doesn't read, doesn't inform himself, doesn't educate himself on certain things as a genius and a leader. But we have other people throughout our history that were doing the opposite of that and informing themselves and say, it's wild to me. We don't know in our community, or at least say in today's time, we don't know how to discern what an actual leader is sometimes. And I think that's what leads us astray.
True. I don't think we know what a leader is. Even the word genius, I think we just throw words around for people who are popular and likable.
Throw genius around like we throw the word influencer around.
Yeah. And like he's, and I think, I don't know, man. I think leader, you have to be, I guess like understanding what like a leader is. Even when people talk about like the president, I'm like, man, there's somebody who can lead people who are good in areas. Like even some of the things he said, like even there's things he said. I think that interview you were just talking about, where he's supposed to be talking to her husband. That shit was like live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And like certain statements he says make sense, but I would never put him in a leadership position. It'd be like, that's a cool idea. I would even think he could be allowed to be on somebody got to be able to tell dog, no, that's a good idea. We might work with that. The rest of what you said, put that shit in a bag and shove it straight up your ass. Like, and I find like things he says, and I'm more so take issue with, because I still give him the bipolar thing. I give him that I don't think he is working on a full deck. I remember there was even like a clip from the Joe Budden Power. They were talking to Reza Islam, and he was talking about like, the effects of psychotropic meds, which is true. Like those can rearrange a whole lot of shit in your body. And like ever since that happened, plus the trauma of his mom, boom, we got a hold of nigga. I'm rocking with all that. So I always will give a bit of, and when I say understanding, I'm not letting him off the hook, but I'm just like, this is somebody who I can only listen to
in doses.
Yeah, and like to a certain extent, I'm like, he's gonna run off the rails, and I can't take this seriously. My issue with other people, whether it be like the Noris or the whoever is, I'm not trying to just jump on there, but like a lot of people just talk about him and listen to him as if it's like this is the Messiah speaking. And I was like, why everybody act like y'all don't have like common sense or the ability to discern information? Why are we
don't, because somebody just like Kanye was our last president.
Shit is nuts to me.
And people are still following him as if he has a chance of becoming the president again.
That shit is, that bothered me more than anything. Like to hear him sit up there and talk about, okay, say like how, and I remember like we got up here and talked about like how mad niggas was like they keep black fathers out the home. I was like, stop saying that shit, because this is not one of those moments. There are dudes across there's a more fathers we can count right now that are amazing dudes that are having the just going through hell and high water to get in a decent position with their children. Kanye chose to marry and bust off in the world's biggest influencer weirdo family in the you chose that, and then you chose somebody who is not steeped in the culture from a space that as far as I can tell, like really cares about it. This is something that's a money grab. This is all for self. And you're like, she's kidnapping my children. That's a black father. Man, say that shit. You did that. You did that a number of times. And no, only one stand on that. Take your ass on somewhere. I don't like that. And I don't like that shit at all of people like trying to say and use those things. I'm like, you muddy up actual stances and issues that people are
But
going
you're
through.
using context and discernment, which we already established that we don't know how to do.
This is why God sent everybody shit to voicemail. Moments like this. Like he looks down and sees that you commented on this video like, oh my God, that's great. And he was like, put him at the bottom of the list until he figures it out. Like actually take him,
They
put
in
him
that
in there.
third category on Instagram that you got to go click and look
Absolutely.
at.
That like God, like there's the primary, there's
There's
the
the general,
general,
and then there's the
that
rest
other
of you.
shit, and that's why God put all everybody's shit over there. Cause what are you talking about, bro?
They don't know. But I like, I didn't get to see who said it. I think it may have been Felix that said it. But people think um, leader equals popularity. There it is.
Yeah.
Like our leaders, I'd say at least for most of our generation, say for the 2000s for sure so far, most of our leaders aren't people that are qualified. They're people that are popular. People that are popular and rich are automatically equated to leaders. So like Beyonce is a leader and Rihanna's a leader. Not to say that they don't have leadership qualities, but anybody that has some money and some fame will automatically say that they are a leader and they are somebody to aspire to be like, as opposed to people that are actually doing the work. There's no reason why we should know more of Bootsy's quotes and gems than we do fucking John Henry Clark.
Bars. And also, I'm gonna go out there and say that whatever Kanye was saying about himself and what he's done and what he's showing and as a leader and his example, I'm not gonna hold you, man. If I was gonna put two and two together, Boosie over Kanye. Boosie has done more example wise than Kanye has to show us how to move.
Absolutely.
That motherfucker went on two or three, every platform he goes to, there's a table full of things of like, I own this. I went through this. I have ownership in this. I'm whatever. Everything about Kanye, when he talks, you can just hear it's a lot of begging. And I don't find that to be, there's nothing clinical about what I'm about to say.
Politician. It's political talk.
Yeah, to me, I find it weak. Like it's a lot of, oh my God, please let me indoors. And you have some of the biggest influence that an artist has, and you have somebody who's, like a Boosie who arguably is not as popular, maybe even more infamous than you are, and is like, I went out here and did it myself. And if I'm anybody in any type of position, like I'm looking at that and going, oh, I just gonna keep my name on it, and this is how this works. Other opinions you have about the man, sure, but in those areas, I'm like, yeah, he's a way like leaps and bounds more of an example than you are.
I'll
So
take Duval over both of them.
absolutely, hell yeah, what like.
But I'm saying, like, people will look at Kanye as if he's spitting, but it's like you can ask them about Duval and they either be like, who? Or they'll be like, no. And it's like, no, aside from comedy aside, even though we've talked about it on the show, how comedians really are the pulse of the nation and can really tell you some stuff.
Comedians are philosophers, bro.
Aside from him being a comedian, he'll say some things like, hey, that's actually thought provoking, or that's actually uplifting, or even simply with him going on his getting better from his car accident or him getting hit by the car. Let me show you how God works. Let me show you how fast that I'm going to heal and do all this other stuff. Look at what you can do if you do this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. That's more inspiring than I created my own line of hobo chic and I'm trying to get white people to give me money for it. And when they don't give me money for it, I throw a tantrum and say they're anti-black. And then I'm also going to say this is anti-black over here, but this is also anti-white, and it's a whole bunch of contradictory, convoluted messages that I'm giving. Like some stuff, it should take common sense to look at it, but again, common sense to me is discernment, and
Yeah.
we don't have common sense, which means we don't have the ability to discern.
And that's, I don't know, that's my main irritation with this, because Ye's stuff is so blatantly like, does not care about any of these groups. It does not care about any of these communities. It is, it is like you said, politics. Like it is just the most transparent thing of, I'm gonna jump on whichever group wants to support me. Oh my God, black people. Did you see these white organizations treat me, a black man, bad? As a black person, we must come together as black people. Until them folks back on your side, and he's like, hey, well, here's the thing about being a creative, and we have to be together with everybody because white lives do matter, and MAGA, and this and that, and like even that shirt, like even that thing, like the there's a lane where artistry is a way where you should be able to say what you want to say. As somebody who is absolutely villainous on the internet myself, it's like, bro, the way he discusses like how and why he does things, I was like, I don't buy it. Like I believe the things, like when either one of us can post, I was like, no, that makes sense. Like I know you didn't like it, but like this is what it meant, and so on and so forth. I see things I don't like all the time, and I'm like, oh, but I know this individual, so I might know the context of it. Him, I just am not buying it. Like even the White Lives Matter shirt with the whole Pope on the front, I get it, but also, nah.
I feel, based on what you're saying, like how he can manipulate a certain narrative to his benefit, right? He'll jump sides, he'll jump ship, he'll do things that are contradictory to whatever he was saying 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a representation of black culture today.
Hmm.
Because we'll have a lot of music artists that'll say one thing and then they'll go sign their life away for a white company just to be able to live a certain lavish lifestyle. And then they'll make songs about it later on saying how, oh, they fucked me over this, that, and like the story isn't new. We know that labels have been fucking people over for a long time, but you were still willing to go and put yourself in that position with these white folks and let them leverage your money and give them all of your creative control and all this other stuff. And you paraded that around as if it was a wonderful decision. And then when that money stopped coming in, or them checks ain't coming the way you would like them to come, or they asking you to pay some of that shit back. Now you saying, oh, they took advantage of me. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did that. And you beefing over stuff that it's not new information. Why do you want us to support you now when you willingly made a dumbass decision, lacking accountability for your decisions? And we've talked about that in the black community, how we do lack accountability for a lot of different things. So it may be a weird or a wild out correlation, but I think Kanye embodies the mindset that we have as a community, whereas we do very contradictory things and we don't know how to have accountability for what we're doing or saying. And then we also aren't informed on what we're talking about. We're just speaking anecdotally based on our feelings.
Yeah, and I think that was something to be taken away from, like when I'm watching, I'm listening to him, because I wish I know. No, I like that I do that, but I'm gonna go listen to anything that's like I feel like we're gonna talk about before I get in here and just run my mouth about what I don't know what I'm talking about. And as he was talking, like the thing that sticks out is like there's not any ounce of I did this to myself. There's moments in like say the Nori interview at the end they push back and he kind of is put in a coin where he has to admit that he's whatever, but left to his own devices, there's no air of like I am the cause of said issues in my life. Um Nobody's trying to always, because there are people who are being actually silenced.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's trying to silence me. I got mad that they didn't give me a gajillion dollars, because back then when Sway had the answers that said you should go ahead and start this yourself, I went and begged and shucked and jived and grabbed my ankles for all these companies, and they said, okay, well, we're in control. Then you sit there and get mad that you're no longer in control. Now all of a sudden you're being taken advantage of. That was your fault. You talk about whatever your issues are going on with Kim and blah blah blah. You chose that person. You chose that person knowing that she was this type of individual, and you're using now the blackness and all this other whatever. But you have black women in your life that you just said whatever the issue is. I don't know what the relationship issue is. I don't care. But the way that there's a bajillion women you've run across, you chose who you chose, and that's also your choice. But nowhere in his rhetoric is there any of I did this to me. And outside of even like a psychological thing, like on like a principle thing as a person, that you can fuck up 17 times a Thursday. If you go, I fucked up 17 times. I did this, that was my fault. I'm like, hey, I can ride with this person. I could maybe sit through 18. You fuck up 5 times. Like I just listed like 3 of the same type of fuck ups for him.
Mhm.
Every single one, he's like, but you have to listen to what happened. No.
I can hear your perspective, but that doesn't mean that you are devoid of accountability just because you have a feeling about it. Especially when a minor trigger for me is I don't like him using that narrative to say he's being silenced or this, that, and the other, blah, blah, because throughout history, our actual leaders were actually silenced, even to the point of death. Hell, even today, fucking Riza Islam is silenced.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda, you're not silenced.
Yeah, I don't.
There's people that are doing something for the black community that are actually silenced and blackballed or, admonished from whatever certain social media platform. You're not that. You just shot yourself in the foot. You pulled a bag, basically.
Huh. Shit.
You brought something on yourself and you want everybody else to feel bad for you until the truth comes out. And then now it's like,
Yeah, I don't like that as leaders, and I don't like that just from a sense of like, black men. It's like it's enough dudes and black men and black people all across, black men, women, all groups that are silenced, and you're up here making like just shit statements. Somebody silenced you, nigga, you wrong.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
They didn't silence you, they just told you that's actually not factual. That's not what happened. You're wrong. This is what it actually is. That's not true. You got to listen to my perspective. You want me to accept your perspective. You don't want me to listen to truth. You want me to concede and say that you're right, but you're not.
Commercial.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, we'll see.
We gonna see that you're right, but you're not.
Commercial.
¿Qué pasó? Hey. This is Rix with the Brown Skin Investors on our podcast, Brown Wealth Radio, where we reach and teach nuestra gente on financial literacy, exclusively on TGN Latinx on the Good News Network, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, to be specific.
Are meant for celebration. And when it comes to celebrating, Flour and Sugar never misses a beat. Offering custom cake designs to fit any special occasion, your cake will be the talk around town. From sushi cakes to perfume bottles, everything is always edible with flavors like Oreo, banana pudding, and our top flavor, strawberry shortcake. I can't miss. Order your special cake today by email at flourandsugarla@gmail.com or visit our website at flourandsugar.store. Or if you want to see new design, follow us on Instagram at _flour_and_sugar_.
Emmanuel Jones, also known as Zach, the original Black Ranger. Hey, and make sure you're checking out TGN Radio. Hey.
Peace, family, brother Reza. So I'm here. You already know I'm checking in with TGN Radio, Black owned. So you already know that's where I'm at. Tap in.
Hey, Jackie, what's wrong?
I'm over here running around trying to tell everybody about the Podcast Pit.
What's the Podcast Pit?
I'm glad you asked. The Podcast Pit is an event where you will find some of your favorite podcasts performing in front of a live audience.
Will there be food and drinks there?
Of course there will be. It's at Joxer Dailies in Culver City. They have a full bar and a full menu.
Hey, I may need to tell people about this as well.
Yes, come with me. Let's tell them. The Podcast Pit is coming.
The Podcast Pit is coming. Hey, what's up, business owners? Are you looking to take your business a step forward? Are you looking for more people to know what you have to offer? You are in luck. The Good News Radio has a special deal for you right now. You can get a commercial slot 4 times a day, every day for a month. If you are interested, email contact@tgnradio.net for more information.
Woolsey, it's Deshaun Showtime Watkins, and you can tune in to Compton Mania Monday nights, 9 o'clock on TGN. Woolsey.
Only on TGN Sports.
Sundays just got sweeter. The Hub Radio presents First Sundays Open Mic, hosted by Hub City Dre, DJ Gamma Ray, and the First Sundays Band. They're inviting all singers, rappers, comedians, and poets to show up and show out. Sign-ups begin at 6 p.m. Sundays Open Mic will take place every first Sunday of the month. It's just $10 before 8 p.m. and $20 after, so arrive early. The address is 1135 East Compton Boulevard. That's 1135 East Compton Boulevard in Compton, California. For more information, follow them on IG at First Sundays Open Mic.
Like 40? Or are you doing a different one?
We'll go with that.
Tariq Nasheed. I saw that name pop up.
Where's that at?
Kano.
You know, it's a good point. Tariq Nasheed's house has been swatted how many times? It's a bar.
Since the first Hidden Colors. Damn near.
Countless black journalists get silenced in college, bars.
I won't even say in college. They just get silenced, period.
Yeah. The ones who are affecting change are the ones who get silenced. If you'll sing and dance and make folks laugh, you can't be heard. It's a bar.
It's the truth. He does the song and dance. He's very entertaining. Again, to me, he's like the black version of Trump. Of course, you're going to be heard, which is not a good thing. I'm not saying it as if it's a compliment, but depending on who you talk to, they might take it that way.
This is a bar. Kanye embodies the predator in any society. He'll commit acts of vampirism against his own people. Killing your own people with that poison.
With that poison.
All it took. You know what? That's another thing.
That's a bar.
They did
it.
He did. They said that on there. It was like Quick Time with Slime, and they were like New Jack City or something else. They didn't choose New Jack City, man. I'm like, just think it different.
It depends on what other movie it was.
It was I want to say it was some movie like Christopher Walken. It was like King of New York or something like that.
Oh, it was one of our black cultural movies versus somebody else's cultural cult.
It's New
classic.
Jack City out top. I don't care what nobody said.
I mean, for us, yeah, but I'm sure there's people out there that haven't New Jack City. I'm sure there's people in our community that haven't seen New Jack City.
Moni.
She's the only one. I'm sure she's not the only one. I'm sure there's people that we know that have not seen black cult classics. Actually, I know some people personally, but I think for a few people that I know that haven't seen them, they're multiracial and they were raised predominantly in the other culture as opposed to black culture. So it wasn't second nature for them to gravitate towards those films.
That makes sense.
Like their parents, which is wild to me, may have procreated with a black person but didn't teach them black culture.
Oh, I mean, that seems... I'm not surprised by that.
Like Kanye's kids.
Yeah, it's, like I'm attracted to status. I'm attracted to what you can bring. I'm attracted to,
I'm attracted to prowess and the ability to procreate with strong offspring.
Yeah, that's not about like...
It ain't got nothing to do with you or the culture.
Exactly. I don't know, man. I just don't know how people can kind of like, I guess, find discernment, I guess, and especially in discernment involving like what's just like the rantings and ravings of whatever. Like, I like the man's music. I was listening to College Dropout like at some point last week, like, but having the ability to take away like, okay, this is not...
Name new stuff. Don't name old stuff. What's new stuff of his that you've listened to? Yeah.
I listened to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I don't know if that's considered.
No. From what? Life of Pablo up.
There's a couple off Life of Pablo. It's a couple here and there. But yeah, I'm not like, I haven't been running into like...
You like the old Kanye, not the new Kanye.
Yeah, I also think there's an album on the way. I want to say he alluded to that, but my thing is like just with individuals being able to be like, I like your music, but like let's sit all this other shit over there. Like when I like see people, I was like, what is up with y'all? Like thinking that I saw like a lot of he's keeping it real, and I was like, what is the distinction between like keeping it real and keeping it like, I don't know, not factual, but like...
I mean, yeah, I can. So the way that I'm interpreting that is like, so I've referenced me studying for the test, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like they'll give a lot of vignettes on the test. For those that don't know, the vignettes are like scenarios. So based on this scenario, this is the client, this is what they're suffering from or what they're experiencing. They come to you, this is what's been done, this what hasn't been done, or whatever the case is. They give you some sort of scenario to play off of. What should you do first? Or what should you do next? Or what is the best thing for you to do? And here's your options. Me studying for the test, I realized I can't fill in the blanks of context of what I would do in real life. I can't process this from a certain realistic standpoint as far as how I would react in the field. I have to stick strictly to what I see in this paragraph and make a decision based off of that. When it comes to discernment, same situation with Kanye. I'm not telling you to fill in all the context of what he could possibly be saying with this quote, what he could be alluding to, what he's done in the past, what this or what that. No, specifically based on what you see right here. How do you feel about it? Well, I feel like he's trying to say, no, 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 no. What did he actually say? And how do you feel about it? I think we end up shooting too much bail or giving too much grace because we fill in context based on our implicit bias for this person, as opposed to looking at the evidence on what's in front of you and saying, I don't like that or I do like that.
Yeah. And I feel like that, like, I guess that's part of the reason that like it kind of irritates me because I'm like, I'm big on bail and context, but to a degree. Like I'm like, okay, that I can see where that's going that way. And then there's a wall where you go, no, that didn't get there. Like I understand the amount of rope I'm giving. I'm no longer giving rope. I'm just completely letting you jump off the ledge and assuming you can fly.
Right.
Like that didn't make any sense. And that's why like I'm when people are like talking or saying things, I was like, that didn't make sense. Like that the I don't know, from my perspective, the realm you're trying to give him in this statement or this move, that's not that. That's just wrong. And if you listen to, and that's what another thing where I guess people don't listen, like as much as it drug ass, like I listened to, it took me like 2 days, but I listened to 2 hours and about 40 something minutes of it. It's like a 3-hour episode. But in those 3 hours, I was like, what you said here is in direct conflict with what you said over there. And, if you obviously, you're in the field, you deal with people, you talk with people, you're watching on like, that was a lie or that was a manipulation, or you're saying this now to like gather the room. Like none of this, I shouldn't say none of this is real, but it's like you can kind of tell when somebody's trying to like work the room, when somebody's saying shit. I'm like, that's the honest thought, that right there. Like it's a whole, like when he's going on, say, okay, the thing that really got him kicked out, because there's been conversations, the media is run by this group of people, and he's up there said a lot of he said the word Jewish or Jew so many fucking times. And I'm like, that to me is to like, there's a method to stick that in your brain if I'm gonna be repetitive. And I think he's smart enough to know that tactic. But even if I take that out, he says that a lot throughout the thing, and he throws in the media and they're controlling me and they're trying to silence me. And in your brain, that there's a lot of history behind that. And this is where to me it gets wrong and deceptive. And nobody saw that because everybody's like, that's right, they're trying to silence. And on the back end, he starts to say things like things that make it sound like he's trying to still get in with Gap, or what they need to do is let me do this. And I'm like, oh, you want to be in the room with them. This is not about them silencing. This is about them closing the door on you.
Right.
And it's bullshit. And
your feelings are hurt.
Fuck that.
Somebody triggered your rejection, which goes back to what you said earlier as far as him being insecure.
Yeah, it all stems to me. It's all stemming from the fact that I don't think I've always thought that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't hood enough for the whatever this. I'm not cool enough to be whatever. I'm not fashion enough to be in the Balenciaga rooms.
Yeah.
I'm trying to prove myself.
But I also felt that I was entitled to be in these spaces because I'm special. And so I feel rejected or I feel inadequate when I'm not welcomed into these spaces that I should easily be invited to without even having to request it. Especially because my mama said I belong in these spaces, so why don't I?
Narcissism kicks in like 1,000 throughout that. And then there's also weird things like, I'm a big fan of but I can't really this is like, now I'm just fucking spitballing at this point. Because even like when he refers to his mom and dad, I feel like there's obviously like still some, I like losing a parent.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some pain in that. Like when he's like, my mom and my dad were there, you would never do that to them. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, that's that seemed like some like childhood wound shit. But outside of that, man, it just is a lot of weird working pieces that I think create his statements, and I don't think, and I just more so can give him a little realm of, okay, you're going through a variety of things, and obviously with the meds and bipolar this and the other that, but it's people and people in a variety of positions that are just like, why y'all just riding with this so well? I don't like that. And even the ones jumping on them, I'm like, well, don't jump on them now, because y'all were, depending on, the album, y'all just kind of let shit ride. If I'm jumping on like other musicians now, I'm like, I know some of y'all let this shit ride because you wanted Dog to let you on the album. Like, I know some of y'all saw this, have the ability to really sit and talk with him and be around him and help him, but let some of this SpongeBob boots and this shit just go on because, well, he gonna let me get on this song, or he gonna let me do this, or whatever. And nobody like pulled his coattails for real. And y'all wrong for that.
Aside from you feeling like they're wrong, how do you approach people that adamantly side with folks like him or a Candace?
I don't. I mean, if I think that's one cool thing about like the internet. Like, it should teach you to like kind of learn when to hold them, when to fold them.
Mm-hmm.
If I like, see commentary or whatever like that, I'm not gonna engage. I'm not really one to leave comments. I'm not one to post. See, a lot of y'all post goofy shit in y'all stories all the time. I say a joke or laugh, but I'm not really finna engage with somebody who I feel like, unless I feel like we can have a conversation. But also sometimes I think of myself like, what is my goal with this? It ain't my job to change nobody's mind. I come here, I have my platform, and I have conversations with those who want to have a conversation about it. But usually if it's brought to me, then I'll have the conversation with you. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, if somebody's like that misinformed, that has that skewed of a perspective, I just have to kind of clock what I'm talking to them for. Because I'm like, you're not gonna change your mind. You believe that. You posted that, you said that. So I don't know. I don't know if I should waste my time on it. Like, that's one of my like actual thoughts of like, what is my purpose for having these conversations? Because then it kind of goes back to that concept of like, just go ahead and gather my tribe, my group, or whatever. Not to say I'm against any viewpoint that is outside or different from mine, but it's like, if I can't clock that the overall goal is trying to get to a better space, I don't really know what I'm talking to you about. We are on opposing sides of this.
Could that be part of your purpose, though? To interact with those individuals and be a beacon of hope or guiding light for them to come to a more enlightened area?
Yeah.
Or would that be a purpose like, that's not my purpose, and that ain't one, if it was, that's one I'm not grabbing?
No, I'm with that being my purpose, but I try to not be evangelical Christian about it, where I'm kicking on your door every morning. Nobody asked you to come over here. Like, you got, if you gonna run it like Jesus was just talking his shit, and then whoever was fucking with him was fucking with him. It was 12 of them niggas. They just pulled up.
11.
Oh yeah, it was 11 of them niggas. They just pulled up. My bad.
That last nigga was.
That's true. But I'm just using the Jesus standpoint. Please relax. But it's like, yeah, like with those, it's like I'm fucking with this, and then now with that, I think you stand on whatever your perspective is. So I'm not gonna push my perspective on nobody else. But is that what you really believe? I do. That's what I'm on. And then it's like, either you not fucking with it, or if you want to add, and I've had that. So you mean to say, yep. And so usually in those moments, that's when I kind of like dig my heels in. I was like, oh, I'm in it now. Because you're not finna tell me what I'm like. You can show me some new shit. But as soon as I clock, are you mad at what I said? Well, let me go ahead and stretch, because we finna fight. Because you want to argue. You don't want to talk to me.
Right.
As soon as I clock, you want to argue. If I choose to get in it, then we finna fight, so to speak. But no, if somebody's like trying to, obviously, like between this, the actual field, the job is in so many respects to assist people on their journey to get into the better side of it.
Mhm.
Whether that's my mental health is bad, I'm like, okay, cool. But part of like the overall theme of that is, you're in a bad spot. My purpose is to get you into a better spot. Now, how I do that, if you like my brand to get you to a better spot, cool. If you don't, there's him.
I can't guarantee I'm no better.
It's just a different hit. maybe I like body blows. He like head kicks. You gonna get hit, but like, it's different. I like body slams. He likes submission holds. It's different. But
I like bodies.
I do like submission holds too. But we'll switch them. We'll switch them.
Right.
We'll switch them.
We'll make it. It's an optical illusion. It is different than it
But
is
yeah,
over there.
I guess the goal is to not beat a dead horse. If you are opposed to me, then that's one thing. And also, I'm not wanting to go search out. That's actually become like an issue on this because I'm not looking at none of y'all goofy shit no more. Kanye was throwing in my face on 50 different. I was going to come here and talk about something completely different, but I think that's my thing of like I go back and forth about what am I looking for as far as like conversation pieces, and then what am I looking for is like looking for something that is just actively ruining my day.
But that's intentionality.
Yeah,
That's you being aware of what you're consuming. And I think for the majority of people, or the stereotype, I won't say the majority, but for the stereotype of people, how I perceive it, it's one of two extremes where they're either going to beat the dead horse or eat the dead horse. Either I'm going to continue to argue with this inanimate object that I know is not going to change, and I'm just screaming into the void, or I'm consuming all the bullshit.
make me a little horse burger.
I mean, if it's beneficial
Is
to
that
you,
messed up? Can y'all not eat horses? I don't know what animals y'all choose are sacred and what ain't.
I mean, it depends on the culture.
That's true.
I mean, which is another thing. That's cultural competency that we have to know, right? So some things that we can look at and demonize it based on our culture, on our perspective, and you go and look at somebody else's culture or their perspective, and you realize, no, this is customary over here. You may not like it, but over here, this is what we do. This is how we do things. So, say for instance, with Kanye identifying as more of a conservative person, that's how they do things. That's how they move. That's how they operate. So for us as not just black people, but say politically black liberals or people that are more forward thinking that don't identify with white Christian conservative narratives, do we get mad at him because of his perspective when we know that's what he aligns with? Do we just ignore him and let him be? Like, we don't go searching for Candace's quotes or Ben Shapiro or any of these other people. We don't go looking for their information because we know where you stand.
Mm-hmm.
So since we know where Kanye stands, why do we continue to eat the horse and or beat the dead horse or whatever the case is? Why don't we just like, it's a decaying carcass. It has nothing to do with me. It doesn't serve me at all. Let me just continue on about my journey.
I think we like a car crash. I think there's a lot of people who like watching this weird derailing and watching things be entertaining. And, I think people a lot of times need something to rail against. Like if I'm mad, I need somebody to say something that gives me purpose to like fucking go back and forth with.
But that exists already. And for us in our culture, or at least I'll say in this country, but definitely all across the world, but that exists already. For us, systemic oppression, that exists already. If there's something that you need to be mad at, there's real tangible things that you can be mad at, as opposed to looking for some pseudo whatever philosophy that's being promoted by X, Y, and Z person on social media. Why be mad at them when there's real issues that need our anger and our attention? Or even like say with the things that are going on with women in Iran, those are actual things that they can be upset at, and they're giving their attention to it, and they're trying to create change. They're not worried about whatever social media person said about X, Y, and Z. They're not worried about what this promoter or this influencer, like they don't care about that, because we're focused on the actual tangible thing that needs our attention. Us over here, we do the opposite. We know what needs our actual attention, and we don't give it our attention because we too busy giving our attention to fuck shit.
I think that's because we view other things like that above our weight class. Like you feel like you can, put that energy into, I don't know, man, like cussing out of Kanye online or some shit like that, and feel like you're really like doing something, like my voice is heard. When you look at some of the stuff going on around, like I think things like that make it too real. And I know I've had that conversation before where it makes people deal with like the fear of, no, man, what would you really be willing to do?
Right.
And really ready to like instill change? Like there's a lot of emotions and depression that comes like, damn, it's really fucked up out here. Like you could be like, oh, that nigga Kanye crazy. That's why we need to blah, blah, blah. And it is a very like surface level complaint. Like all of this, like as much as we've talked about this, like that nigga really does not matter. Like as far as like the comings and goings and fabric of like what's going on in life. But if you really start talking about like the heavy shit, you start going like, shit, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. I don't know how I deal with that. I'm gonna talk about this weird nigga online though, because I feel like I can have a little bit of control over that, and all this other, heavy shit can like I can kind of like forget it exists, or not have to approach it, or that's not my issue. I think another thing with like some of the Kanye-ness that kind of, I guess I kind of enjoy watching is like watching somebody. I think it is a bit of a representation of how people can like manipulate narratives and not look at their own shit. Like that's one thing I found myself kind of enjoying watching, because as he was doing that, I was like, if you can switch out whatever the topic is, and he is a representation of how everybody is kind of maneuvering in whatever conversation that happens online. Obviously, I think like, because I saw something last night, it was something you sent me, the dude who was whatever, but like it was one of those relationship niggas that was like he's taking up the mantle for the dude who cheated on his wife, or just like a lot of those conversations on both sides of both sides of the aisle are very Kanye-ish, where it's like we're missing a lot of like context here. And if we're missing like say a level of context, you can kind of avoid something like an Iran. Like that would never happen. I don't even know nothing about that over there. It's like, nah, if you look at what happened over there and how those concepts and ideals, it might not be like that, but you can parallel that to say something that's going on over here. You are, words to Joker, man. You one bad day. So I think those are things and ideas that, granted, get rather heavy for people, but I'll think about that and then I'll go watch Luffy kick a nigga in the head. You figure out how you balance it, but it exists.
So Kanye is essentially like the white lives, and they don't matter.
Oh yeah, you as far as like big things in life, fuck no. Like Kanye, for all the issues that are going on and all the stuff we're talking about him, that man literally, like he said it on the show, like, and I believe a lot of those is like, I went over here and I spent 50 million on whatever. I don't even know what that looks like. I haven't spent $50 today. So like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like it doesn't matter. And like when people say certain things about like, I get it, people do have an influence and people should use their platforms properly, but sometimes it makes me think a little bit of like, focusing so much on, and I'm thinking to myself like, but what has he really done that I'm focused so much on like the Kanye view? I'm like, I like these songs.
Right.
I don't like your fashion choices. I don't like your relationship choices. I don't like a lot of, why am I so focused on what you say about all this other stuff? Because you only have really helped me out here. And so I'd be looking at everybody else when people talk about him. I was like, why are we like so swarmed around?
Because we don't know what really matters. In our community, in our society, the Black American community and American society as a whole, we don't know what really matters. We don't have a clue what really matters, which is why everything matters to us. Everything nonsensical matters to us, because we have no clue on what is of importance. Individually, yes, there are cases, and individually, yes, there's a spectrum of people from the most uninformed to the most informed. We all fall along that spectrum somehow, some way, but as a whole, in totality, we don't understand what really matters. So everything that doesn't matter matters the most, because it's a distraction. It keeps us from looking in the mirror and realizing that we don't know shit.
I like this one. Hang on. With enough people, nothing is above weight class, but folks tend to dismiss the strength of community. Well, that's true.
But community matters. So we don't even understand what it means to participate in community, or how to build community, how to cultivate community, how to nurture community. As far as us, we talk all day long about how our community gets treated a certain way, but do we know how to nurture our community?
No, because I think I would say that's one of the things where I feel like his conversation was a bit of a mirror, because everybody speaks it. And then if you really thought about like, okay, but active things you can do to participate in it, active things you can do to use whatever you've got to really benefit and grow said community, and are really doing it. Like I'm using him as like, we need to do this as a dad. I'm like, well, you could have built that, Mr. Billionaire.
But he never knew. He made Gold Digger while dating Amber Rose and left her to get with Kim.
That's what I'm saying. Like shit like that, like great songs. But like if we were watching Dog Life, we could simply shut a lot of this shit down. Like we could just be like, he makes good music, but like, little bro, just stay over there. I know Beyonce probably be like, don't pick up that motherfucking phone. Like I know she like, I'm not really here for women talking crazy to their niggas, but I feel like if there was a moment where she's like, I don't give a damn, put it down.
I think they're both on one accord as far as like Kanye is Pizza Hut
Like
or Scam Likely. Like they just don't
cut that shit.
They don't pay
off.
attention to his
Do
code.
not pick that.
Speaking of Beyonce, random thought that came through my mind this week, especially with the whole Sukiana and Chica beef on Twitter.
Chica all day. I'm
not gonna argue with y'all on that, but like I guess Suki, because shout out to Eric, I guess he just loves Sukiana.
We had a conversation about her.
But he sent me, I guess, whatever her new song is that's out, and she mentions Beyonce. And I thought, like, does Beyonce get tired of bum bitches always mentioning her in their music? How dare you compare yourself to me? It's like I'm not a big Beehive or B stan or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but I'm sure that she would be offended if Sukiana compared herself to Beyonce in any capacity.
Y'all on the app got 20 seconds, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up. I know if I could speak for my Virgo people, Beyonce don't know that woman exists.
Absolutely.
Like I know a lot exists now because I'm regular, but
extra
where Beyonce is in life,
she has no understanding.
Y'all have a good day on the app because this is gonna end. But y'all on YouTube, I'm gonna explain to y'all. I know for a fact that Beyonce does, like, it doesn't matter. Like Beyonce and Jay-Z, like on any random moment, are putting together gajillion dollar deals or like vacationing in a place that I didn't know existed on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you look at the map, they're at some spot and like I didn't even know there was a thing there. That's what Beyonce's at with her kids. Like I didn't even have a joke for that. Like does not care.
So Beyonce, unlike our community, understands what matters.
Yeah.
That's why she has no recollection of what doesn't.
They told me they gave me a voice actor role in the Lion King movie, and I hijacked the entire thing to make it into a visual experience for nothing more than letting you niggas know that you guys know there was black stuff that's out here in the world. I'm gonna make a song about it and like 12 videos. Nobody cares about Sukiana. Shout out to her though. Suck toes, eat ass, suck dick, whatever she's doing in life. But like, I don't care.
That's all she's doing.
Yeah.
And having kids, apparently.
Chica all day. She makes better music.
All day long. Her
protect Chica at all costs, I guess. That's it.
People were not. That's a whole nother conversation because people were definitely taking Suki's side more than Chica, which is disappointing.
It's another conversation. I'm gonna hold that because that can be a thing. That might be a thing. Somebody remind us. Maybe that should be a thing. If something else doesn't come up, that could
look
be a
at
thing.
it through Twitter and just look at there because Sukiana, I think she's still like throwing shots at Chica. And it's been 3 days. And Chica's just like, I said what I said. But go look through it and you'll see the massive amount of people that are like, y'all really supporting her because of this, and this. But y'all, okay, never mind. You'll be further disappointed in humanity.
Bye. Listen to Kirby.